the Social World Podcast. I'm Dave Niven, and it's nice to have you back again. Now, today we're going to do a bit of a brief one, but a very important one, and it's to do with a conference that's coming up in Leeds in Yorkshire at Leeds Town Hall on the 14th of March. And it's a conference, a follow-up, if you like. There was one last year, and this is looking at safeguarding children, and it's looking at the impact of abuse on children. And there's a heck of a lineup, and so we're really looking forward to it. Now, today I'm talking to Christina Gabbitas, who's the organizer of the conference and author, and she's also an honorary now an honorary member of the NSPCC Council. So welcome, Christina.
Good morning.
Good morning. How are you?
I'm fine, thank you.
Okay. Now, this conference on the 14th of March, I think what I'd like to do, if it's all right with you, is just chat a bit about the lineup, who we've got coming, what they might be talking about, and the sort of, if you like, the thinking behind it, because you had a successful conference last year, and so this is a natural follow-up. So it'd be good if you could put this into context a bit.
Yeah, so the conference that we held last year, the Reach Out, Speak Out, it was held at the Royal Armouries, was a huge success. The thinking behind it originally was that I wanted to try and bring people together to share and gather information and to help one another. Because when you're talking about safeguarding, child protection, I think it's much better if all the different organisations come together. Obviously, people are stronger when they come together to share all the information that's available. And it was really to try and educate all who work in the sector, who are working with children, about the resources that are available to educate our children who are very vulnerable. So this was a huge success. Obviously, it was the first event. I wasn't sure how it was going to go. But what was really nice, I had some fantastic testimonials, and then people asking me, look, we want to book on the next conference. When is it? So that led me to the one that we're having at Leeds Town Hall.
All right, so here we go. Let's talk about, can I just talk about the cast, if you like, the cast list for the speakers, because I think that'll be a testament, if you like, to the quality of this conference. Uh-huh. We've got Emma Lewell-Buck, who is the Shadow Minister for Children and Families in opposition. And I don't know what your thinking is, but my view about this is that it would be good to hear the opposition's position on children and families and safeguarding, especially in a year following the legislation introduced by the current government to do with the Social Work and Children Act, to do with the changes to safeguarding boards, and to do with the general positioning and arrangement of safeguarding within local authorities. And so it'd be very good to hear what the opposition view is about that, if they agree with it, if they change it, and what their priorities would be if they got into government. Would that be your understanding of what she might talk about?
Yeah, definitely. I think Emma has made a huge impact, and with her work within the child protection sector within the government, and I think that it's good to have support from MPs here. She spent a lot of time within the cabinet and the education team as well. So I think it's really important to have someone who is a figurehead, who's a good representation, who can tell us more about their plans and the impact of the plans that they're going to be undertaking and that they intend to undertake.
Right. Okay. Well, so we've got Emma, and we've also got Mark Burns-Williamson, haven't we? Who's the Police and Crime Commissioner for West Yorkshire. And people, I don't know what your thinking is, but I always imagine that people don't recognise the pivotal position that police and crime commissioners play in safeguarding. And it's not just influence, it's not just experience, and it's not just the network around the country, but it's also, they've got quite considerable resources to offer and to actually kind of fund a lot of the safeguarding work right across the board. So it'd be very, very good to listen to him. And I believe he's also got a national position too. Is that right?
Yeah, he's the chair of the Police and Crime Commissioners. So yeah, he's got so he's a really good figurehead to have, and get once again the support is really, really important, and it's good to read about what he's actually been doing and what he has actually supported just in the West Yorkshire area with regards to safeguarding and child protection. I know that they funded a project that was publicised not long ago, which is a kind of a bit of an animation about child protection and educating children. So it'd be really interesting to hear more about that work and what they've got planned, what they have planned coming up as well.
No, for sure. No, a speaker, and a very good motivational speaker, because I know you've heard him and many other people have too, and it's really been good that you've managed to persuade him, if you like, to come along, and that's Dean Coady. Now, Dean, I know as one of the highest decorated detectives in the United Kingdom, who specialised in safeguarding child sexual exploitation training, and the transference of work across county lines to do with gangs and prevent the whole prevent agenda about radicalisation. And he is a very, very inspiring speaker. Would that be your take on Dean?
Oh, definitely, yes. So I was invited to the Lancashire Police and Crime Commissioners Conference, and I was there and I saw Dean, and that's why I had to book him. I thought he's just an amazing speaker who really kind of he really engaged with the audience and had a lot of praise for what he was doing, and what he's doing with his safeguarding training across across the UK in relation to CSE county lines, radicalisation, street gangs and crime. And it's all about kind of safeguarding children and child protection, because I was really inspired by how he put across the information he has. I mean, I didn't know half the things that are happening about the street gangs and how they prey upon young and vulnerable teenagers. And I think it's really important for people to know that, and that they're targeting middle class families, children as well. So no, he was really interesting and definitely worth listening to. And he, as I say, really engaged everybody at the conference I attended, and that's why I specifically wanted him to come along.
Okay, looking forward to that. Now, Andy Woodward, the first footballer people will remember him for, to speak out as having been abused himself within the system by coaches and so forth, and he really sort of, if you like, set free a torrent of disclosures from other sports people, and he's become very pivotal now in the, if you like, in the fronting up, talking about abuse in sport, and he's doing various other things. Would you just like to expand a bit about what you heard he's doing?
Yeah, so I remember seeing Andy Woodward on TV in an interview and seeing how distraught he was. And I found that really, really upsetting. Now, I've spoken to Andy on a few occasions, and he's going to speak from a survivor's perspective, but more about the positivity that he's now channeling into his life and channeling into other people's lives by helping other people as well. So he'll be talking about a survivor's perspective, and then he will talk around the positivity that he's now working on. And he's teamed up with a gentleman called Colin Radcliffe. Now, Colin set up is called DEpressON, and it's a mental health app which is getting some quite substantial investment. And this is a mental health app that they're going to talk about. And Colin's own experience is that he really suffered from depression himself and tried to take his own life. But this is going to be really interesting and really kind of thought-provoking, but also very inspiring that someone who has, survived at such the monster as Barry Bennell, and to come back from that, because he really, really suffered, and to channel his energy into positivity, I think is going to be really good for Andy to get across to everybody.
Excellent. Oh, looking forward to that. Him and Colin Radcliffe together should be excellent. Now, listen, something that really interests me, because we talk about the kind of insidious nature of abuse and the huge numbers, to be sad about the whole thing, that are involved in this and the survivor stories, but we've got the Internet Watch Foundation coming along, who are a very kind of well thought of, supported, government-linked organisation who day after day are striving to educate and interrupt abuse online. And the task they've got is enormous, as we know. The task that law enforcement has is enormous, as we know. But the hidden numbers are just staggering and absolutely shocking. And I think the Internet Watch Foundation will be one very, very interesting slot at the conference to just put into perspective the challenge that we face today, if you'd agree.
Yeah, definitely. And Emma Douglas, who's Director of Development at the Internet Watch Foundation, is going to tell us more about that. And I would certainly like to know more about it and what they're doing. It's absolutely huge. All the online safety, and obviously the Internet Watch Foundation is very pivotal. And I think that the more people know about what they do, what they're about, and how they can help, the better. That's why I wanted to bring them to the conference. I wanted to have a really good mix of speakers in all the different aspects and areas, so that we can, again, it's about sharing information, gathering information, and perhaps some information that people out there don't know about.
Oh, I mean, I think, the range that they'll be able to talk to is going to be it's going to be phenomenal, but I hope not too depressing, because it really is staggering when you get into the numbers and the challenges that face people today. Now, people all know about police checks. That's a kind of a general thing within the community, that anybody going to be working with children or in touch with children would ever have to be police checked. But the Disclosure and Barring Service, who are the organisation, the government organisation that actually runs it, are really there's far more depth to them than people realise. And I think it's fascinating that you've invited them along to tell us a bit about the kind of things that go into the checks, the kind of things that drive them, and how they assess people. So, I mean, I suspect the same as you, looking forward to that slot.
Yeah, definitely. I mean, Linda Hackett and Lynn Gavin. Now, Lynn Gavin came along last year and kind of represented the DBS service so that people could have a chat to her. But I thought it was really important because you speak to people and they're actually not sure, they're not 100% what happens, when their application is sent off, what happens to it, how are people researched, how long do these things last. So I think it's really important for people to know about the DBS service and what is the service that they actually offer, and what does that do for people, and how often are these things updated. I think there's a lot of questions that I'd like to ask that I don't know, so I'm really looking forward to listening to what they have to say. So I do think that's important to have them there.
Okay, you've got Anne-Marie Christian now, who's an international safeguarding consultant. Now, I know Anne-Marie. She talked last year at the conference, and she's got a wide range of experience and a very, very good perspective on safeguarding children. But I suspect that's why you've invited her back again.
Yes, I have. And I first met Anne-Marie a few years ago of a story that I wrote, a children's safeguarding story that I wrote. She contacted me completely out of the blue and said she wanted to let me know that the book that I'd written she uses in her safeguarding training, and that's how I met Anne-Marie. But she's a social worker, and she moved into kind of child protection and safeguarding, and she now she speaks up. She kind of takes training all over the world, and she's excellent, and so yes, she's going to be speaking from kind of the voice of the child perspective, the impact of training and the impact that it has on children also. But yeah, so I think it's really important to have Anne-Marie there. Again, she's brilliant.
Well, I mean, the impact of abuse is the theme that you've got threading its way through the whole conference, and I think that's been a vital kind of piece of glue that we'll see from all the different speakers. And the vast importance of actually recognising the impact and planning for it is, I think, crucial. Now, you mentioned your own book there. Now, if I remember correctly, now that you've got even more involved with the NSPCC, your book is going to be on their website. Is that right?
It is. So what happened was I penned the story, which I then worked with Sheffield Hallam University students who animated the story for me, or for us. And the reason for that was trying to get to as many children as we possibly could. So the story is called Share Some Secrets. It encourages children to speak out. But this is a book that a child can pick up without parental supervision that addresses the difference between good and troublesome secrets. And it's incorporated into the story. I did a lot of research and I realised I was trying to put myself in a child's head when I'm writing. And I thought it was important to have something that you could not only use for a kind of a training session with, or sit down with children and chat to them, but I thought it was important to have a book that they could actually just go and pick up as a free reader. Yeah. So kind of address and get them to understand that they don't need to feel alone and that they can talk to someone, they can tell their teacher. So the animation is freely available online. So I spoke to the NSPCC and I'm going to be helping them to raise funds with it as well. So they're going to be putting the book in their online shop. The animation will also be on there, and they'll be raising funds with this as well. I think it's really important because it's not just any book. It's a book that's actually going to help educate children. And I used to love going to the free readers when I was at primary school. I found a lot of the school books boring. I loved the free reading section. And what I did find interesting is I always used to look at factual information. I used to like that kind of thing. But I learned about the bombing of Pearl Harbor from a Ladybird book at the age of 8. But that was my choice to look at that book. But it's amazing. I was a very quiet and shy child, and I used to find kind of solace in books, in that you can kind of pick up a book and you're somewhere else, it transports you somewhere else. Yeah. So then you're kind of concentrating on the content of it. So I think it's really useful. And what I am getting now is that I am getting messages from parents and teachers and thanking me because the book is actually encouraging children to speak out. I've had calls from Norway, Australia, Singapore. It's amazing, and books have gone out to Singapore. And I just think it's really, really important. Mm-hmm. And the animation as well, because a lot of abuse happens in and around the home environments, and parents won't want a book like that in their home. And that's why I wanted the animation freely available as well, because all of our children are online, to get them to see it. And at the end of it, it encourages them to reach out and speak out to Childline.
No, I think that's a really good thing, because the NSPCC, of course, Childline, but you're now much closer involved with the NSPCC, apart from them putting your stuff onto their website. You've also invited a senior person from the NSPCC to come along and speak at the conference, haven't you?
Yes, John Brown. So John Brown spoke last year for me, and he's the head of development and impact at the NSPCC, and he's going to be speaking about the impact of their work. The impact that it's having on children, and he'll be giving us the latest news and all the latest projects.
Okay. Good. No, that's fine. I mean, and I suppose I should say at the end that I'm also very pleased that you've asked me to speak as well, and I'm intending to speak about the media, which has always been a passion with me, and the impact that abuse has on the media, both in encouraging people to come forward and disclose, but also the way that child abuse and safeguarding is represented in the media. I passionately believe that there's not enough out there for the general public to absorb and to fully understand when they're trying to make decisions or trying to understand what's going on, or even recognise the nature, the depth of what's going on. So I'll be very happy to speak about that. So look, let's just get some facts out, can we, Christina? Because where do people book for this conference? I think we've got to tell people about that.
Yes, okay. Well, the website to go to, there's a link from the website, which is all the W's, elysiumevents.com. So that's ELIZIAM, elysiumevents.com. And on there, it will take you to the Eventbrite where you can book.
That's fine, yeah. But also, I think people also should realise and have a look at your own work on sharesomesecrets.com.
Yeah, and there will be a link from there as well. So yeah, so if you visit sharesomesecrets.com, you can hear all about the project, the testimonials. It's actually the animation is in the Lancashire Police and Crime Commission in Child Exploitation Toolkit. I know that's a mouthful, that, isn't it? But
Okay.
it's getting across to lots of. I've spoken at lots of different conferences, and people are very receptive, and they're saying that it's very, very useful tool to have, even if you don't have a book.
Right.
So there's more information about that on sharesomesecrets.com. Yes.
Good. Well, now, I'll also, just to say that on the text of this podcast, at the front of the podcast itself, I'll put all the details that people need to know and repeat what Christina's just been telling you. Well, I mean, like I said today, short and sweet maybe, but very, very important. And I really hope that those of you who are listening, and I believe, I mean, let's not get into too much about money now, but it is a very modest charge for this conference. So it should encourage as many people as possible to come forward. And is there something about students that you were saying, Christina? I'm trying to remember that.
There is quite a reduced rate for students, and
Right.
I do have a certain amount of funding where I can some students can attend for free. So if they want to get in touch with me, I can organise that.
First come, first serve, I expect.
Yeah.
No, I mean, that's excellent, because to my mind, you know, the next generation of professionals who are going to be responsible for protecting our children need all the help they can get.
Oh, definitely.
Right. Christina Gabbitas, I wish us a good conference. It's the 14th of March. It's at Leeds Town Hall, and we really look forward to seeing as many of you who are listening as possible who can make it, because I think it's going to be an excellent day. Thanks for speaking to me, Christina.
Thank you for having me.